I tried 51 luxury eyeshadow palettes in 2023, and in my opinion, these are the best. What's up, friends? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing well. You know what this video is. We're going to be talking about my favorite eyeshadow palettes that I tried in 2023. As I mentioned, I tried over 50 eyeshadow palettes this year. I track all of them in a spreadsheet, and these are the ones that I think are the best. I've got some good ones to show you guys today. I feel like we have a good mix of seasonal limited edition ones that we can look back on, and also some from permanent collections as well. And make sure you are subscribed to my channel because I am going to be releasing a best makeup of 2023 roundup as well very, very soon. So that is coming up. So if you want to hang out with me and hear about all of my favorite eyeshadow palettes from this year, then keep watching. Okay, party people, let's dive in. By the way, I am going to be focusing on eyeshadow palettes that were launched in 2023. There were a lot that I reviewed on my channel. I pretty much have reviews for all of these palettes. So if you go to my channel page after this, you can find those if you want to see more swatches and demos, things like that. And I also have done a lot of favorites and get ready with me videos over the past couple of weeks, focusing on palettes that didn't launch this year, things that are old favorites as well. So you can check that out if you are interested. So let's start off with the first palette. 2023 was the year that we were blessed with the YSL Mini Couture Clutch palettes. This was such a good release from this year. The one that I have right here is number 100 Stora Dolls. This is the most popular one. I think this one might be my favorite. Even though it's a very basic color story, it's very simple, it's very elegant. What do I like about these palettes? There's not much that I don't like about these palettes, to be honest with you. The formula is super silky and a little bit creamy. It has kind of a higher oil content than a lot of other eyeshadows that I have in my collection, which makes it very unique. It's very forgiving on mature skin or dry skin. If you're like me and you have very dry eyelids, this is going to be a great formula for you. The color range, while it is not the most groundbreaking, it is very wearable for every day. And guys, can we just talk about the cute packaging of these palettes? You guys know I love this. It does look like a little mini YSL clutch, does it not? We've seen some of the bigger clutch palettes from YSL in the past, but those were usually more like seasonal releases, and I never really heard great things about that formula. So I was really excited to see them launch this as a permanent range. I really feel like it was something that they were missing in the YSL Beauty selection. These are just such beautiful palettes, and you know, I asked you guys on my Instagram and my YouTube, what were some of your favorite eyeshadow palette releases from this year? And so many of you guys mentioned these palettes in multiple colors. So definitely, guys, I gotta give it to YSL. This is definitely one of the best eyeshadow palette releases from this year. And I'm excited that they are permanent because it becomes one of those luxury staples in our collection. By the way, if you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Sophia and I love luxury beauty. I upload new videos just like this one every single week. I do a lot of new makeup reviews. I do rankings, fun and helpful guides. So if you love luxury beauty, then you're in the right place, my friend. Hit that subscribe button to join our fam. And as a quick reminder, friends, I always link all the products that I mention in every video and the makeup that is on my face in the description box down below. I do use affiliate links, so that means when you click on my links, I do earn a small commission if you buy anything. So full disclosure, thank you so much to all of you who have supported my channel this holiday season. And with that, let's get back to my favorite eyeshadow palettes from 2023. This next palette kind of annoys me, and not the palette itself, the fact that it was limited edition. It is the Dior Bal Masqué Quint. And guys, I didn't know that this palette was limited edition. I think it was a part of the Dior pre-fall collection. Unfortunately, you cannot get it anymore. Dior, please bring this palette back. It is probably the best neutral palette that Dior has launched in a while. It is a beautiful neutral to cool tone color story. You have a really nice mix of the satins, some more high shine shimmers, and also a deeper matte right here. And if you guys watched my review of this palette, I told you I actually like this one better than the classic Dior Soft Cashmere. Dior reformulated their eyeshadow palettes a little bit earlier this year. And while they're not bad, they're not as consistently good as they used to be. And I kind of felt like they ruined Soft Cashmere. I like this one. I think that the formula is so divine. And I also like the fact that this one, it's a little bit more brown leaning as opposed to gray leaning like Soft Cashmere. It is just chef's kiss perfection. I'm really glad that I got to pick it up. I'm sorry if you missed out on it, but as a little bit of a bonus here, because I want to include some Dior in this video, I want to show you guys my two favorite palettes at the moment from the Dior Permanent collection. So we'll give these guys a little shout out. This is an honorable mention, okay? So I'm cheating a little bit here. First up, we have Dior Amber Pearl. I do have a get ready with me video using this one. This is great if you want something nice, soft, a little bit more warm tone, but really great basic for every day. And then we also have right here Rose Tool. I think that this might be my favorite pink palette that Dior has released, and they have released a lot of pink palettes. And make sure you guys are tuned into my Pass or Yes videos where we talk about all the new makeup that is coming up that's going to be launching, because there is another pink palette coming from Dior this spring. So we're going to have to do a little bit of a battle with the pink palettes, but these are my favorites right now from the Permanent collection. So if you missed out on Bal Masqué, there's some other really good ones that you guys can try out. Speaking of Dior, I had to include my favorite holiday release from this year, which were the Dior holiday palettes. We have Promenade Dorée and Nightwalk. I thought that these were such beautiful classic holiday releases. A lot of brands did these kinds of very basic metallic shades, so it's not the most groundbreaking release from Dior in the world, but at least it wasn't another pink palette, guys. I love the shimmer and metallic sheen that these give. I feel like they give a little bit more pop compared to some of the other ones that were released this year. I also like the fact, I know some people feel like it doesn't make sense, but I like the contrast of silver and gold in each of the palettes. Obviously, Promenade Dorée is mostly gold with a pop of silver, and then it's kind of the opposite for Nightwalk. Nightwalk, I think, is my favorite because I don't have as many of these color stories, like more cool tones in my collection, and I love the smoky holiday looks that you can get from this one. A lot of the holiday palettes from Dior that they have done in the past have been kind of similar to these, but I just really like these a lot more than the ones that they released last year. I feel like even with the reformulation of their shadows, the formula that we got from these was a lot better than the one from last year. So yeah, these are going to be kind of like a holiday favorite for me for years to come. When I was reading through all of your favorite eyeshadow palettes from this year, so many of you guys mentioned the new ones from Hermes, and I was very skeptical of these because the price tag is very high, and I wanted to be very, very critical on whether or not I thought that these were worth it. Honestly, guys, I think that they are lovely. I told you in my review and in my favorites videos, I really enjoy these. I like the pigmentation that you get from them. They're going to be more pigmented than like a Tom Ford or a Chanel, so they're not going to be that subtle, but I like that. I like that Hermes kind of came to the table with something a little bit different. The mattes are super easy to blend, but you also can build them up to some depth. I like the fact that in every palette, you get a matte to build up that depth. You get a really nice soft satin shade that you can use as a daily one and done. You also get a beautiful high shine shimmer shade. The formula of that shade is always a little bit creamier, so you don't get a lot of fallout, but you still get the impact of that shine. And then finally, in every single palette, you also get a colorful pop shade that you can use just to bring a little something different to your look. And those are my favorite palettes at the end of the day, usually neutrals with pops of color. And I showed you guys in my review of these palettes that depending on which color story you have, for example, this is my favorite one. I know it's super basic. This is number 03 Ombre Fauve. I like the fact that this is such a good everyday palette, but then the pop shade right there, you actually can use as a blush. So check out that review if you want to see the two palettes where I did that. I feel like it just works like an Hermes blush that you would have to pay. How much are they? Like $90 or something like that. These are beautiful. I also really like the packaging. I know a lot of people expect more from this packaging, but I really do like the design. I know they're very expensive. Sometimes you can get a deal on these at a department store sale, but I would buy these again at full price. I absolutely love them. We have to have some Chanel in this video, and my favorite release from Chanel this year is definitely their Spring LeBlanc palette. This is number 68 Délice. What a beautiful, delicious little springtime treat this palette was. Unfortunately, you can't get it anymore. It was limited edition. Everybody went bonkers for this collection, and for good reason. It was really beautiful. I just love the tones in here. It's colorful, it's feminine, but it's not so out there that you can't wear this every day. My mom has this palette and she wears it to work all the time. She really loves the bright yellow shade, as do I. That is the perfect little pop of brightness on the inner corner or the center of the eye. I love the fact that they paired these two more colorful shades with these two just kind of pinker, more subtly shades that you can kind of put all over the lid or in the crease. This collection definitely was one of my favorites. You know, Chanel does a lot of classic colors and we see a lot of repeats. For me, this was something different that I hadn't seen from them in a while. So absolutely one of my favorites. I think this was my favorite Chanel launch of 2023. 2023 also brought us the launch of Prada Beauty. And I don't think there was a single thing from the launch that I didn't absolutely love. And the eyeshadows were no exception. I love the fact that Prada kind of touched upon a lot of their house codes when it came to the colors that they use, even the shape of the pans. Packaging is super luxurious and just gorgeous, honestly. I know there's a lot of fingerprints on mine, so sorry about that, guys. These are also refillable. The formula of these is very creamy and pigmented, so it's definitely different from a lot of other luxury formulas that you see on the market, and that's okay. We can have a little bit of a difference there. I feel like Prada's vibe is a little bit edgier than, let's say, a Dior or a Chanel. It's a different type of style and aesthetic, and so I like the fact that that was reflected in the formula that they decided to release. All of the colors that they used were inspired by actual clothes and collections that they've launched on the runways. And for the most part, most of the palettes have kind of like a neutral color story. There's always at least one high shine metallic shade and one pop of color. This one is my favorite. This one is number 05. I believe it's called Pure. Very beautiful. You know, you don't have to go into the blue every day, but if you guys saw the tutorials that I did with this collection, I feel like they came out beautiful. I feel like you can make this super wearable. So it's definitely a little bit different, but for somebody like me that, you know, has a lot of makeup and I already have all the neutrals and the basics in my makeup drawer, this was something really interesting and refreshing, and that's why they're in this video. Let's take a moment to acknowledge the best Tom Ford palettes that were launched this year. Let's take a trip down memory lane to the beginning of the year when they launched the new wet dry formula palettes. I am a little bit annoyed that Tom Ford is discontinuing some of the best palettes that they have in their collection. Let's not go there. At least they are launching some new shades. And my favorite palette from that line of 3 palettes that they launched is this one, which is called Peach Dawn. This is a delicious ripe pop of peach. I know it's a little bit colorful. This is going to be good for my friends out there that love warm tones. When I asked you guys about your favorite palettes from this year, a lot of you guys said you loved the Hazy Sensuality quad. That one is definitely the most popular. My mom has that one. She uses that one all the time. But you guys know my makeup aesthetic, okay? I like warm tones, and peach really suits me. This is such a beautiful, delicious quad, and there's a lot of good shades to work from here. You have the gold, you have the lighter peach, the darker peach, and then you have this deeper, riper peach. I know I keep using the word ripe. Sorry, guys. But that was my favorite one from the wet dry palettes that were launched this year. And then, friends, we were blessed with the Forbidden Pink when it came to the creme formula. This was my favorite Tom Ford creme formula launch of this year. It's definitely one of my favorite Tom Ford palettes in my collection. I also think this is one of my favorite pink palettes in my makeup collection. It's not super pink. It's not true pink. It's almost like if you took rose and you made it more neutral. A lot of us were joking that this was called Forbidden Pink because the pink was forbidden. It wasn't even in the palette at all. But when you actually swatch it and you put it on the eye, it's more of a sultry rose, something a little bit more neutral for every day. I love the fact that you can use some of the lighter shades that are softer for the daytime, but you also can get this really beautiful suede, smoky type of look as well if you go in with the deeper shade. This is the creme formula, so I feel like that soft, creamy look on the eye is really what they're going for when it comes to this. I would say this is probably one of the closest formulas to the new one from YSL, but I do think the ones from YSL have a little bit more longevity and they don't crease as much. So if you have oily eyelids, maybe stay away from the Tom Ford creme formula, but I still like it. I still like it, and I love Forbidden Pink. And then the last Tom Ford favorite that I have here was actually one that I wasn't going to include it in this video, even though it was a favorite. I was telling myself, Sophia, it's really not that groundbreaking. It's just a really basic neutral palette. Do you really need to acknowledge this? But when I read about your favorite palettes from this year, friends, so many of you mentioned this palette. So we have to include it, okay? You rescued it and brought it back into this video. It is the Tom Ford Tropical Dusk palette. This is the one from the summer collection. It comes in the beautiful gold packaging. Unfortunately, you can't get this anymore. You can get the other sister palette that this one was launched with, but guys, don't buy that one because the quality wasn't the best. This was the one to get. This is so beautiful. Like I said, not super groundbreaking. It is a neutral palette with this little like dusty rosy pink that you can pop in the crease. I don't normally love this like classic formulation from Tom Ford, but for whatever reason, it just works with this palette. Maybe it's just that these particular shades, they look really good in that formulation. They're a little bit softer. I really like this delicious like golden color. It's very soft. It's very sexy. It's just a beautiful, sultry, everyday neutral palette, and I love it. Now let's talk about a palette that is not so basic, that is actually quite unique, borderline a collector's item. It is the Guerlain Summer Collection palette. This one was called Summer Jean. And I love this one, not only because it has a really beautiful, unique color story in a gorgeous formula from Guerlain. I love the pops of color that we have here and the brown that kind of grounds the entire look. But also, this has got to be some of the best packaging I have ever seen from a brand, period. Look at this beautiful celebration of spring that we have on this palette. You have the denim chambray fabric, and then it is embroidered with all of these flowers and the cute little bees, which is kind of like a house code, a symbol of the Guerlain fragrance house. So I love the fact that they were able to incorporate that a lot. They always draw from nature with a lot of their collections. It's just a stunning palette. I'm so excited to have this in my collection. Obviously, I use it, but I don't know if I'd ever be able to throw this away because it's such a stunning collector's piece. I really am excited to see what else Guerlain has for 2024 because I really feel like they have been launching some beautiful, beautiful collections this year. This wouldn't be an eyeshadow palette favorites video without some Natasha Denona included, and she came out with so many good palettes this year, and the quality of everything has been absolutely top-notch. I feel like a lot of you guys have agreed with me, and while most of you guys said your favorite was the I Need a Nude palette, and I do agree, that was a fantastic palette. That one isn't my favorite one that she launched this year. My favorite is the Yucca palette, and I know that this isn't for everybody. It's a very divisive palette, but that's why I love it. It's actually different. I really respect the fact that Natasha Denona, she launches throughout one year palettes that are neutral and then also palettes that are a little bit interesting. She is an artist. A lot of us want to use her palettes and feel a little bit more artistic with the way that we apply our eyeshadow. And then a lot of us just want something super simple. So she's kind of catering to both sides of the spectrum. The Yucca palette is unlike anything else that I have in my makeup collection. A lot of you guys actually did comment and say that you really liked this one. If you like these kinds of, you know, poopy greens and warm oranges and what is it, golds and yellows, there's like such a mix of earthy tones in here. You're really gonna like this palette. Like I said, the quality is top notch. And I really like the fact that she's consistently trying to introduce new finishes into all of her palettes. So with this palette, we did see some new sparkle finishes paired alongside a lot of the other finishes that she's given us with previous palettes. I just think this one is so cool. If you guys have this palette, if you're thinking of getting it, I do have a full review with 3 wearable looks. You can make this palette look wearable. I highly suggest that you check out that review because I think a lot of you guys were surprised when you saw me demonstrate this palette, and that really was kind of the tipping point for you trying it out. On another end of the eyeshadow spectrum, 2023 brought us the launch of the Clé de Peau Eye Color Quads. These are a part of their permanent line now. These are their main eyeshadows that they are promoting. And I'm so glad that they're permanent because we can continue to enjoy them and collect new shades. I think that this is one of the best eyeshadow formulations on the luxury market for mature skin, or even if you just have dry eyelids like me, if you get eczema, this is what I turn to if I want something that's gonna make my eyelid look super smooth, not irritated. It actually kind of nourishes your skin as you wear it. And somehow, even though the formula is very kind of creamy and moisturizing, they've been able to develop something that has really, really good longevity. Like, these do not crease on me. I think part of it is because every single palette has the inclusion of a primer shade. You use it as a primer, but you also can use it as a color so you don't kind of miss out on the color selection. I thought that was a fantastic idea. I really feel like Clé de Peau is speaking to their customer, and this was a great addition to their makeup range. The shades that are in the range are not groundbreaking, but hey, they're everyday, they're wearable, they're very foolproof, they're very user-friendly. I think that they are stunning. My favorite one is this one, Sun-Dried Driftwood. It gives me this very elegant kind of mauvey, purpley little hint of aubergine type of look. I like to pair this with kind of like an eggplant colored eyeliner, and I think it is so, so gorgeous. I do have some other colorways that I demoed in my review if you guys want to check those out. I also demoed this on my mom. I did a mature skin, get ready with us where I did her makeup using this palette. So if you want to see this demonstrated on somebody who is 62 years old, I can link that video down below. I just think that these are so beautiful. They're not going to be, pigmented like a Natasha Denona palette, but they're beautiful for what they are, a soft, elegant, moisturizing formula. And finally, friends, my last favorite eyeshadow palette of 2023 is the one that I'm wearing on my eyes today. I was pretty critical of this palette when it first launched, but hey, what can I say? I absolutely love it, and I just keep going back to it. It is the Byredo Remembrance palette. There's so many good things that I love about this. I still don't like the packaging. I still think the packaging is kind of creepy. I don't like that I get fingerprints all over it, but hey, me and the goddess, we've become friends. We've gotten to know each other, so I'm okay with the packaging. I can deal with that for now. I still think it's one of the best that has been launched this year. I love the mixture of gorgeous, warm neutrals, just a melange of oranges and reds and pinks and beiges. So beautiful for every day. But what I really like here are these metallic pop shades. I don't know why I've just become obsessed with that contrast of silver and gold, or like a warm tone shadow with a cool tone topper like silver. And I really feel like this palette kind of got me into that trend. Today, I went in with the soft lavender shade, which you guys know is one of my favorite shades in the palette. And then in the center of the lid, I went in with the gold for a little bit of contrast. And then I went in with the silver metallic just on the inner corner of the eye. It is such a gorgeous palette that you can use for every day, or if you want to do something, a little bit more artistic, you can use this as well. A lot of times people ask me, what is this formula like? I'd say if you've tried the YSL Mini Couture Clutch palettes, it's kind of like that. It's a little bit creamy, but still extremely blendable, looks very smooth on the eye. I do like this formula better than the smaller palettes that Byredo has done. I think that's what I've realized over the past year, that I really prefer the formula of these larger palettes. And I kind of wish Byredo would come out with like a permanent line with this formula, or even make palettes like this one that are half the size or even a third of the size. I feel like those would sell so well. I don't know. What do you guys think? Comment down below and let me know what you think about that concept. I honestly think that they would do really well. I'm excited to see what Byredo is going to launch in this upcoming year. This is the main thing from the brand that I purchased that I really enjoyed this year. And yeah, I just think it's a beautiful palette. I know I was a little bit critical of it at first because I didn't think that the color story was that groundbreaking, but that's okay. Like I've said multiple times throughout this video, the color story doesn't have to be groundbreaking for us to really love it. And when you guys told me about your favorite palettes of this year, so many of you told me that you like this one as well. But wait, there's more. I know that I told you that the Byredo Remembrance palette was my last favorite from this year, but I did want to give a quick shout out / honorable mention to a palette that didn't launch this year, but I've really just been enjoying this range. This is something that I've gotten into in 2023, and I'm looking forward to collecting all of the shades. It is the Chanel Le Beige line. So far, I have 4 of these palettes. I did pick up 2 more around Black Friday. Didn't get a deal on them or anything like that, but I just really enjoy them. So now I have 4 of these, and my favorite one so far is this one. This one is called Intense, and this is just such a beautiful, sexy palette with these gorgeous golds, bronze, and khaki tones. I feel like this is the way to do the grunge look, but in a slightly more elegant, chic way. I'm in my 30s. I'm not always wearing like tons of glitter and like eye slick and stuff on my eyes on a daily basis, but this I can get behind. And I actually did a look tutorial with this one in another video, so I can link that down below. But yeah, I just wanted to give this range of palettes a shout out, even though they are a permanent line, because to me, it does stand out as a favorite from 2023. And there you have it, my friends. Those were all of my favorite eyeshadow palettes from 2023. I tried to narrow it down as much as I could. It can be difficult because you have so many different formulations that give different aesthetics. I tried to get a good mix here for us. One thing that I noticed is that in 2023, I tended to gravitate more towards smaller palettes from higher end brands. I'm doing a lot more Chanel, Tom Ford, YSL, Dior for you guys. That's what you've been asking for. I feel like you guys have really influenced me. I've really have come to appreciate the simplicity of a 4-pan palette, and I think that that is great. Although I still love my Natasha Denona and Pat McGrath, I've really been enjoying my smaller palettes this year. And now it is your turn, friends. Comment down below and let me know, what palettes have you been enjoying this year? Do you feel like you've been going for a specific aesthetic, a certain formulation? Leave me all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you like this video, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And with that, friends, I hope that you see some beauty in your day, and I will see you in my next one. Goodbye.